do. It's just out of my own sense of responsibility. What do you make of this very popular, attitude shared by the young people today?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm not so sure people are helping old people that are falling down. Living here for 25 years and having an understanding. I mean, there's the Peng Yu case, which happened in 2006 in Nanjing, where a fellow was getting off the bus and an elderly person was ahead of him. She fell down and he brought her to the hospital, and it wound up that he had to pay 40% of her medical care because he was protecting her. This idea that there was a case very recently where a bus driver observed that a woman in a three-wheeled bicycle had fallen over, and he helped her, and then she turned around and blamed her, the bus driver for causing this accident. When they looked at the video later, which was on the bus, that they didn't help, he didn't hit her, he was actually just helping her. So I think there's this reticence, and it's caused by the law.
But Edward, in the West, does Western law say anything about the protection of those who are willing to assist, to reach out to those who need the help?
Absolutely, and this is a concept that is ingrained in our society under the civil law system. It is something called the duty to rescue. So it's a responsibility, and it's a misdemeanor. It's a small level crime. But if you don't help someone in the civil law system, so continental Europe, then you can be fined and you can be and get into trouble. In the state of Minnesota, for example, we have what we call the Good Samaritan laws under the common law system. Good Samaritan comes from this idea of a biblical parable, a story that was told in the Bible. In the book of Luke, it's chapter 10, verses 25 through 37, which talks about a case of a man who was helped by his enemy. And the people who were supposed to be high in the society and his friend, they passed him by when he was robbed and when he was left in the street. And this was an allegory, a story that was used as an example. So there's something called the Good Samaritan laws, and we actually have a duty. In Minnesota, for example, if you don't call 911, that's the emergency number, then you could be fined and you could face a misdemeanor charge.
But ironically, last October, a public debate flared up after baby Yue Yue was left ignored in a city in Guangdong, Fujian, I think, not in Guangdong, and that baby was crushed twice by two vehicles, and yet up to a dozen or so people passed by ignoring the fatally injured baby. We'll come back to examine why our country lacks the spirit of social responsibility and the readiness to help when we come back. Don't go. Welcome back. Now, Jimeng, if you have to make a choice between Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, and Lei Feng, whom do you prefer to take as your own role?